Hey guys, Pavis here with another unscripted, off-the-cuff kind of ramble and rant. I couldn't think of an image or what to put in the left when I was thinking of what I should do, or like what should represent what the topic is today, because I'm talking about inspiration and creativity, and I really couldn't think of an image to put on the left. So enjoy my desktop wallpaper slideshow of anime. Of anime and video game backgrounds. Enjoy. Anyways, today I want to talk about creativity and inspiration, because although I am by no means an expert, in fact, what I'm about to say and ramble about, don't take at face value, because I am inexperienced in my fields respectively, and I don't consider myself a great creative person or a great successful artist, as somebody who should be, listened to and revered, like my advice is gospel, because it's really not. It's just me and my inexperienced self rambling about my thoughts and getting them out there. But I want to talk about inspiration and creativity because they are really at the heart of what I do on a daily basis. I'm aiming and striving to become a game designer or involved in the games industry, which involves a lot of creativity and creative work. I create YouTube content, which also is video editing, and it's content creation, both of those things. You're creating content, you're creating art, you're creating creative work that you're sharing with the world, and at the root of creative work is inspiration and creativity. And I want to give my thoughts on, where I think most of, our creative work and our art comes from. There's this preconceived notion of, the tortured artist, if you know what I mean, where the art and this deep art comes from the darkest moment in somebody's life, or the dark times is what informs some of the greatest art, or great comedians who deal with depression and sadness on a regular basis. And this notion of the tragic, sad artist is very pervasive in, artistic circles. Of this kind of, or at least maybe not artistic circles, but I guess in the general public. This perception that to create art you need to have some tragic past, or some crazy backstory, or some crazy narrative of, of like that informed what you made and like was at the crux of what you made. And to an extent that is true, in the sense that these people are drawing upon their experiences, which are often very difficult, very rough, very dark. They are drawing upon these experiences, whether that's losing a parent, mental illness, to the much more, crazy, like losing a town or a country, or like being separated from your people. These are very kind of, deep, like dark things that happen to people, and that informs their art. But ultimately, to create art, you don't need to have some tragic backstory. What informs a creative's work, and when I say the term creative, I'm referring to any role that requires creativity, whether that's writing, illustration, game design, film, etc., etc. That's what I mean when I say a creative, or referring to a person as a creative. But as a creative, what informs your work is your experiences, because your experiences and what you know is what you have to work with when you make art. When you make something, what you have to work with in your sphere of your life, whether that's present or past. That's all you have to draw upon. That's all you can be genuine about, Because as soon as you start talking about an experience that you have no idea what you're talking about, Somebody who has experienced that is going to come along and recognize you. In fact, the general public most of the time can easily recognize that type of fraudulence, that type of imitation, because most of the time there's somebody who's also experienced that, but the real thing, and they know that you're fronting, that you're faking. So if all you have to draw upon is your experiences and your kind of sphere, your bubble, to inform your art, to inform your work, then of course the people who have had the most difficult and have had to go for the most, who have had to deal with the most, who have had to struggle the most, who have had to really persevere and push through, they are going to have so many things that they can talk about, that they can leverage from their, experience of just living in their art. But that doesn't mean somebody who doesn't have those specific experiences doesn't mean they can't make great art as well, because sadness and tragedy and darkness is only one half of the human experience. It's only one facet of existing. And there is no facet of existing that is more valid than another. Somebody writing about the best day they ever had is just as valid a form of expression of somebody writing about the worst day of their life. However, that range of experience that you can draw upon is really what sets artists, like those artists, apart, because they've been to hell and back. They've had this range of experience that's so much, greater than your average person, which allows them to leverage that experience into art and into creativity. But the spectrum doesn't have to be just from happy or from light and darkness. There's so many layers to the human experience. There's so many facets of just being alive that you can experience by trying new things and just going out there and just, basically, I'm sorry, this is unscripted. I'm finding my way. I just hit the mic. Oh my god, my hand motions. I end up hitting everything. Anyways, but I'm gonna wait for the camera to come back into focus too. Come on. There we go. So if you find yourself like dry on inspiration, dry on creativity, and finding yourself just stuck, you put your hand or your pen to the paper and you can't think of anything, or pen to the paper works in illustration allegories too, but you put your fingers on the keyboard and you can't think of anything. I think my advice, as somebody who has no idea what they're talking about, is go out and try something new. Broaden your range of experience. Just broaden it. Talk to new people, understand their stories. Another great thing is that a lot of the times you don't even need to go experience that yourself. You can talk to people who have experienced it and research and really understand a topic by researching and talking to people and getting out there. And all of a sudden you have an invaluable resource of a person that you can draw upon for creativity and really understand and get to know them. And you don't necessarily have to experience yourself. It's about having the best reference possible at your disposal. The best, like I said, range of experiences possible to inform your art. It's about having that range. Whether, again, it doesn't have to be a place of darkness. It doesn't have to be a place of despair. Just going out, meeting new people, trying new things, putting yourself out there. And I think you might find you have way more to talk about than you have time to even create. There's so many just experiences that are waiting to be had, and by those experiences waiting to be had, they're also waiting to be written about, waiting to be expressed, waiting to be, shown to the world, ready to be, brought to life through whatever medium you so choose to express yourself. There was a study that people who go out and get involved with nature and get involved with, who spend a lot of time outside end up being more creative than those who stay indoors, because, it doesn't even have to be another person or a life experience. Nature itself is a reference. You see the way nature interacts, you see the way nature, is, and then nature itself, by virtue of being outside a lot, you have the reference of nature that you can draw upon when you create. And I think that example is probably one of the best ways to kind of, get this concept. It's the fact that just by virtue of having experienced and having a somewhat decent understanding of nature, all of a sudden you have a resource, a reference you can draw upon to inform your work. And it doesn't have to be nature. It can be, coding. It can be a dance class. It can be a cooking class. It can be cooking, dancing, nature, light, anime, I don't know, manga, microphones, audio, game design. It can be anything. Just by going out and experiencing it and understanding it, you'll find the kind of wealth of reference and knowledge you can draw upon. You won't have enough time to write about it. You won't have enough time to even think. You'll just be so brimming of... I'm not guaranteeing this is a promise, by the way. Again, I'm inexperienced. I don't think I've made anything that's even worthy of me even spouting this nonsense. But I guess currently that's my kind of ideology on creativity and inspiration and being a creative person. That's just kind of what the conclusion I've come to after a while and thinking about it for 20 minutes. I think that's really all I want to get across. I guess if I had to summarize what I said, if your experiences are what you draw upon when you create, then the goal is to have as great a wealth and range of experiences as possible that you can draw upon to inform your work. And often, at least in my very limited experiences, it's a matter of combining and testing these things against one another and bringing knowledge from one field to another field that's kind of cross reference against things that brings out some of the greatest and most creative ideas. As stated by me, the 19-year-old college student. Again, I'm gonna say I don't know what I'm talking about either, okay? I don't think anybody does. But in my limited time as somebody being a creative, that's the conclusion I've come to, at least. And it's taken me a while to even verbalize that and talk about it. And that's why these are so useful. Making these videos is so useful to me, because I can kind of work my way through my own thought process and kind of have a concrete version of what I'm thinking in existence, and that's really cool. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this ramble about creativity and inspiration. Hopefully I've inspired you to maybe try something new, because trying new things is always cool, whether you're being a creative or not, or whether you're being a creative or whatever field you're in. I think trying new things is useful anyways, because even in the regular problems that you face in whatever task you're doing, having more experience and wealth and range of experiences will help you regardless. There's no downside to trying new things except maybe getting hurt. But the payoff is so much larger, in my opinion. Anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble. I'm gonna be making more videos like this because it's been very helpful in actualizing and verbalizing my thoughts. So yeah, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any more extended thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments or hit me up on Twitter at Pavis FE. Yeah, have a good one, guys.